A resolution to reconsider removing planter boxes in front of Watertown's Key Bank building could not be discussed Monday due to procedural rules. Councilmember Lisa Ruggiero tried to bring forward the resolution, which had previously been voted down. But Mayor Jeff Smith asked for a point of order. Interim City Attorney Todd Bullard explained only members of the prevailing side are allowed to reintroduce the motion, meaning the group that voted no. That was Mayor Jeff Smith and Councilmember Sarah Campo-Pierce, along with Cliff Olney, who was absent from the meeting, and therefore a no vote under the city's charter. Bullard cited parliamentary procedures, which say because Olney was absent, he cannot bring forward the resolution. Neither Smith or Campo-Pierce chose to bring it back up. Bullard says the rules prevent motions from being made again and again without change.
There is a finite number of motions to reconsider that can be made, and typically they're not made because under the spirit of the notes and comments, you just can't make constant motions to reconsider. The classic basis for a motion to reconsider is if new information has come up, right, that would change someone's vote, right?
It's unclear if or when another form of this resolution may be brought up again, but some on council did show interest in doing so.